draft pick. Meanwhile, on the radio yesterday, Jerry Jones getting testy when asked if he thought his team has a void of leadership.
But seriously, where would you have a leadership void? Is it an experience void? Is it a talent void? Is it a leadership void? I'm not trying to be cute here. The answer is no. The answer is no.
I'm asking.
There's not a. Well, just shut up and let me answer. No. When I go into the locker room, there's no leadership void in my eyes.
So everything is going against them, including the schedule. According to our analytics, the Cowboys are expected to lose all of their remaining games. Assuming that happened and they went 2-14, it would be their worst record since they were 1-15 in 1989. That was their first year with Jimmy Johnson. We all know he turned that into a great team ultimately. My football crew is ready to go here. RC and Nick are with us this morning, and Dan Graziano is here. Dan, let me quickly start with you. They make the trade yesterday. They don't bring people in, they send them away. Is that, should we expect to see more of that between now and the deadline on Tuesday?
Yeah, but on that level, right? Guys that they have brought in recently don't necessarily fit on defense. A guy like Dontari Poe on the defensive line could be a candidate to be traded or even cut. So look for moves like that. I don't get the sense they're selling off major pieces. They really wouldn't be able to with the contracts some of their big guys have anyway. But, yeah, I think they're going to shake things up on defense because, quite honestly, they're getting up 35 points a game. Who can you not live without on a defense like that?
That's fair. And so the big blow-up of this team might come after the season. We don't expect it to be this week. Meanwhile, Ryan Clark, when you listen to Jerry Jones' comments on the radio yesterday, what thoughts go through your mind?
How bad do the Dallas Cowboys have to be for someone this rich, this powerful to be upset? I think this is the most upset the underlings have gotten the boss man since Billy Ray Valentine and Louis Winthrop went at Randolph and Mortimer Duke. Like, this is big. This is serious. This is big. This is a guy, Jerry Jones, who felt like he built this team to contend. This team is built with people that he has handpicked. He's giving out $100 million contract, $90 million contracts to all of these people. And he's expecting to win. He's expecting to have leaders. And this thing has gone downhill, and it's gone downhill fast. And he sees no way of coming out of it. So when you walk into a locker room of your making, and you say, I don't see a leader by skill, I don't see a leader by experience, you know what you're saying? I messed it up. This is on me. You guys aren't good enough. And when you have to have that realization, that's why you act the way you do with people who are asking very valid questions. Jerry Jones made this bed. Now it's time to sleep in it.
Absolutely. That was Trading Places, by the way. I finally got a reference on a Wednesday on the show. Meanwhile, let me come to you. What is the Dak in all of this? How does the Dak Prescott sort of figure into all of this?
I mean, you talk about a leadership void. When your quarterback is gone, you have a leadership void. When your quarterback is gone, you have a talent void. And I feel like this potential championship window that we thought the Cowboys had around when Dak was a rookie till now, it's closing, and it's closing in an ugly way, in part because they didn't pay Dak last year or pay Dak before this season started. Because now Dak, the one thing that we thought wasn't going to happen was he going to get injured, and somehow his value has gone up. The way these quarterbacks have played has made Dak even more and more valuable and given him more and more leverage, while the cap is also probably going down. So it's going to be hard to put together a viable product for the Cowboys going forward. So it goes back to what RC said. Jerry's realizing that Jerry messed up, and there's nothing they can do about it at this point.
Yep.
We will do much more football as this continues. Guys, stay with me. We'll be busy all day. And by the way, I have a poll question today, and we have a sponsor. My poll question is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. And the question very simply is this: which team most needs to make a deal before the deadline? The Bears, the Browns, the Eagles, the Patriots? You can go to my Twitter page at ESPN Greeny and cast your vote. That brings us to this. Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence got everybody talking yesterday as he left the door open verbally about his football future, despite previously saying he plans on heading to the NFL after this season. He is the presumptive #1 pick in the draft. He says he hasn't ruled out coming back to Clemson. Listen.
We'll just have to see how things unfold. Honestly, just really playing this year, putting everything I have into it, not really focusing on next year, whether, I leave or stay, whatever. Obviously, I have the option to do either one. Kind of my mindset's been that I'm going to move on, but who knows? There's a lot of things that could happen no matter where I go, whether that's across the country, whether that's close to home, where I stay another year, no matter what it is, we'll work it out.
All right, now, just how good is he? Let me put these numbers up here, okay? Over his last 16 games, he's 15-1. He's thrown 45 touchdowns and 5 picks. In the NFL's history, those two you see on your screen, Brady that year and Rodgers that year, are the only ones to put up numbers that good over the course of a single season. Now, for the record, if you're watching the show a month ago, I told you this was going to happen. Dan Graziano, how seriously should one take this threat by Trevor Lawrence to go back to school?
Not very seriously. I think it would be shocking. And even he said there his mindset has been to move on. So he's working off of that. But when you talk to NFL people about Trevor Lawrence, the first thing you hear is how great he is. He's a can't-miss prospect of all time. But the second thing you hear is you wonder if he would pull an Eli Manning, right? And if the number one pick, the team that had the number one pick was one he didn't want to go to, would he try to leverage his way out of that? Now, a lot of disclaimers. We did the same thing last year with Joe Burrow, and the Bengals turned out not to be true. These are people speculating on a young man's mind and, not necessarily certain how it will shake out. But 6 months away from the draft, if you were starting to lay the groundwork for something like that, a little bit of a threat like this might not be the worst idea.
Okay, and listen, I will tell you, just say it again. A month ago, I told you this was going to happen. Let me bring Paul Feinbaum and David Pollack into this conversation. There they are. Gentlemen, good morning. Paul Feinbaum, Trevor Lawrence talking about going back to school. What's your reaction?
Trevor, we all love you. We think you're great. But put a sock in it already, okay? Did Rupert Murdoch put you on the payroll at the New York Post so you can sell newspapers? This is not happening. Graziano is 100% correct. Trevor is bored. He's bored with the ACC. He's bored with winning by 8 or 9 touchdowns a game. So he's having some fun. After all, he's in Clemson, South Carolina. What else is he supposed to do for entertainment?
David Pollack, what is your reaction to all of this?
I think it's funny. Before the season, he made it very clear. He was like, dude, I'm out of here after this year. This is my last year. I really want to put everything into it. But I just think it just shows you when you get in the grind, you kind of lose. You don't want to answer questions about things outside. So I think this is a great way to calm the noise. Not
tonight, really, to be competitive. They're clearly outcoached, outplayed, just about everything.
Some of those throws, it looked like you were laboring a little bit. Are you feeling okay physically?
Yes, sir.
Phil, do you plan on having Cam Newton as your quarterback going forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those were questions and the answers provided by one Cam Newton. It looks like the Pats, though, may have run out of answers for the moment. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin were presented by Progressive Insurance. Let's jump right into the discussion, fellas. Here's the deal. Simply put, the Pats have won the division 11 straight years. It is the longest streak of winning a division in the history of the National Football League. But many people believe this year could be a changing of the guard. Buffalo leads the division. Key, New England heads to Buffalo on Sunday, with New England coming off a disastrous performance where Cam yesterday threw 3 picks, was benched. They had 58 total yards at the half. At the half of a National League football game.
I don't know what you're asking me for. I don't have any answers. I'm just like, man, I feel bad. I feel bad for Cam. I really do. I thought that he would bounce back after the performance against Denver, had a whole week to get himself ready, prepared to go, and he basically stunk up the joint. I mean, he's got to play better. There's no question about it. He knows it. I don't know what it is. I really don't. But watching a player like this with this ability play the way that he played, something's going on, and I don't know what that something is. I don't know if things is too much weight on his shoulders and he's trying to act as though it's not. But you can tell he's out of sync and he's not comfortable. I don't know what that is. He's just not comfortable. Something is going on where he's out of sync. And it's bad. It's bad football. He's putting 2 straight weeks, basically 2.5 straight weeks of bad tape, or 2.5 straight games of bad tape out there.
Matt Hasselbeck said yesterday that if Cam isn't involved in play action or running the ball, when he's in the shotgun, that resembles more the way Tom Brady used to play in Bill Belichick's system, that he just really struggles. His arm just looks dead. He's just not finding people. And the reality is, Key, watching that game yesterday, all the interceptions were him just dropping back in the pocket, just making easy assessments. It just doesn't feel like he has that same pop with his throws.
whether he's in the shotgun or underneath center or what.